Hi. Getting into movements. What you're really getting out of this is not only getting into movements, but you're starting to learn how your touch and now your knowledge of functional movement influencing into that touch are starting to make the changes. With movement lesson, it's really not about doing it right or wrong. Certainly you want to keep a good pace. Again, that flow of the ocean coming up, coming back, or trees. You don't see a tree, doing that. And again, you keep with the momentum or motion of the milestone. So if your child's not hauling off running a marathon, you know what I mean, your touch isn't that fast. Now, I still maintain, let's say, a gentle touch on Felipe, but at the same time, he once threw a ball at 96 miles an hour. I can touch him or move him in a way that is at 96 miles an hour, which you and I wouldn't know that experience. There are occasions where you will go heavy or fast, just based off of, if you were working with an Hungarian weightlifter, let's say, world-class weightlifter, yes, you will use these gentle touch, whatever, but at the same time, if you wanted to, you can go in and let them feel that thrust and movement. But most of us aren't going to know that, but especially too if you worked with them with the compressive stuff at a different level, oh my gosh, you could do huge gains with that person, because if a person like that actually knew how to control buoyancy within the rotational movements, voila, that's huge. My happy place is with the kids, and your happy place might be with the athletes. There's no right or wrong. So when you're doing all of that, you just have to realize that you're now touching, not to weight transfer, but to touch to crawl, and that's what you're learning with this segment. You're really getting that feel of movement and how we work around movement and what needs to be done for movement. That's where really we're going into those kind of conceptions of your work. So when in doubt, and again, if you haven't even learned it yet from me, do the movement on yourself. But again, do the movement as if you're a kid. There's a difference between this to... Oh, and don't forget to dangle your feet. So if you're a little kid, you know what I mean? Right? That's what you see a kid do. They're not going to sit. It's not tennis at Wimbledon. Unfortunately, we're the ones that said, sit down, stop, versus that. And they're doing, and then give them a spinning chair on top of it. That's a 2.5-year-old. It really goes until that 8 years old. They're working on those milestones. You touch with this touch. You can't create an issue. You really can't. There's no drawbacks. If there's drawbacks, that's where your thinking cap is. Is there an infection going on? Is my child starting to get sick? Is there a seizure coming on? My hands are that sensitive. I've got used to it. Graham never had a fever. I had to be, sharp enough to catch, because he was nonverbal, when death was sneaking into him. Preseptal cellulitis, he's been sepsis, all those kind of things, plus having Haemophilus influenza and staph, autoimmune failure, I can go on, and it's not a sympathy talk, it's just, again, all that and no fever. When you're working with this, sometimes too, guys, if you are having a situation where it might be your child, niece, nephew, or something where you can try this on, or a couple of people from old to young, even working on someone who's more advanced in their years, I'm really teaching you how to become a practitioner and go into that thinking cap mode. I have a child with a genetics today that I've never seen before, and that's fine. She doesn't have vision. The vision is not there. So now that's my primary goal first, because again, I can't get rid of the genetics, but if I can get her body moving and working into new levels, the genetics lesson. Keep those in mind when you're working. Play, enjoy, improving movement is what the brain wants. Thanks.